earlier this year, I shared that I switched out my living room and dining room spaces. I have shared my living room since then, however, I have not shared my new dining space. Honestly, it's because I haven't really done much with it since I made the change. However, I really wanted it to be complete by the time Christmas came around, and in this video, I'm going to show you what I did to the space and how it looks like now. Hey there, my name is Yami. I am your Latina next door. Welcome back to Mi Casa, where I share high-end home decor and DIYs on a budget, as well as extreme before and after room transformations. If that's something you enjoy, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so that you too can become part of the familia. As I mentioned, my dining room was lacking. And honestly, since we have so many other bigger projects in the house that we still have to do, I kind of didn't want to spend too much money in this space. However, I did want it to look put together. And when we first moved in, if you recall, we did paint all of the floors, all of the walls, the doors, and the ceiling in this space. It really needed it, and it helped brighten it up. The sunroom is a 4-season all year round room. However, since this is an older home, during the winter it can get a little chilly, and in the summertime it can get a little bit hotter in there than the rest of the house. So we also added blinds in all of the windows shortly after we moved in. But that's pretty much what we did to this space. We used it as a living room for a while and it worked for us, but then when we flipped our floor plan earlier this year, it just works better as a dining room space. This room was honestly used for so many different things, including homeschooling our kids in the beginning of this school year, until I finally created a dedicated space for them, which I shared with you guys a few videos ago. But now that I have a dedicated space for that, I can actually use this space as an actual dining room. And since we don't have a breakfast area or anything like that, we do use this every single day to eat dinners together as a family. So I'll be sharing everything I did in this space in this video, as well as what I did to kind of decorate it for the holidays. Now, the two main things that were important for me was obviously keeping the costs down, as well as addressing some issues that we had in the room. Now, before I start, I will also be doing a quick review of some curtains that I received as a gift from the company KGORGE, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on their curtains later on in this video. So sit back, grab yourself something to drink, and I hope you enjoy what I came up with. So the first thing that I needed to incorporate in this room was a buffet or sideboard. I didn't really have anything to store stuff in this room, and I really needed a place for like my placemats, chargers, and just different things that I needed to store for the dining room. And I found this piece on Facebook Marketplace for only $100. It's actually in really good condition. The people we bought it from were really nice. It came from a smoke-free, pet-free home, and I'm really loving the lines as well as the storage it gives me. Now, after I put that in the room, I had a lot of different things that were kind of lying around, a lot of home decor pieces that I just kind of accumulated and kind of placed in a corner, and it was just time to take them out of that space. Next, I swept the entire space because we needed to move the dining table to the other side so that I can go ahead and mop and clean the floor, because I did order a rug for this space. One of the issues that the space had was that the floor gets kind of chilly because it is open air underneath. And I really been wanting a rug in order to warm up the space and not make the tile feel so cold. Because this was a rug that was going underneath the dining room table, I decided to try one of those washable ones in case there were any spills or anything. We'll see how that goes. This one is pretty large because our dining room table, which I purchased on Facebook Marketplace as well, is a very large table. It seats 8 people. I purchased the table along with 6 chairs that it came with, and then I had these 2 IKEA chairs from the previous home that I still had, and I decided to use those as my end pieces. And I really like that it's kind of informal with the regular chairs on the sides, but it still has a little bit of formality with the slip covered chairs on either end. So now that I had the carpet in place so that our feet and the room in general wouldn't feel so cold, it was on to the window treatments. I had way more windows in our last house than I did this house, and we brought a ton of curtain rods over when we moved. So when it finally came down to adding window treatments to this space, I thought there's got to be a way that I can use these rods that are all mismatched. So I brought this up to my husband Nelson, and together we were able to match up all of these so that they would fit in all of these windows from one end to another, creating one large curtain rod. I was very lucky that they were all similar sizes and they all fit inside one another. And of course, with them all being the same color, nobody would be able to tell that they weren't meant to be this way. Now I found this right angle electrical pipe that my husband had in his stash, and I will also be spray painting this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this with these curtain rods. Now in the dining room, I had this corner where two windows butted up against each other, like right next to each other, and I needed to figure out a way where I could make the curtain rod connect from one to the other, and that's where this little pipe came into play. I thought if I can get these to fit these curtain rods, I'm gonna win, and it did. And that is what I ended up using to combine those two and put a curtain right in that corner. And then, of course, my husband came to the rescue and helped install all of these curtain rods. I mean, these were 10 windows that we had in this space. And he meticulously, with his method, put all of them together, making sure that everything matched up and everything was perfectly level. And shortly after the curtain rods were put up, I could not wait. I had to get my Christmas tree up. I wanted to see what it looked like in this space. This is the one that I actually had in my living room last year. So I'm actually really excited right now because, as you saw, Nelson and I put the Christmas tree up, and we weren't sure if we were gonna get the curtains today, but literally as soon as the tree goes up, I look out the window, the FedEx truck was there, and I got my curtains. I'm so excited. Now, KGORGE is an online retailer that supplies lots of curtains, and right now they're having a huge sale for their Christmas theme curtains, their tiebacks, and they even have shower curtains. They have tapestries, tablecloths, and even pillows. And I have their link in the description box below if you guys want to check them out, as well as a coupon code for you guys to use that will give you an 18% off discount. Now, the ones that I selected for my space were the custom Christmas velvet curtains. These are light blocking and thermal rod pocket back tab curtains. Now, the reason I chose these was because of the fact that sometimes it can get a little hotter or colder in this space depending on the weather outside, and I really wanted some good quality thick curtains that would keep out the heat or the cold. And let me tell you something, the construction of these curtains are amazing. And not only that, the back tabs were impressive because usually the tabs that go on the rods are made of a very thin, very cheap, different fabric. But no, these are also velvet tabs, and these are such good quality. The velvet feels so great, and they are thick curtains. Now, the first thing I did for these curtains was iron them out. They actually weren't that wrinkled, which I was very impressed with. But of course, through packaging and shipping, it can get a crease here or there. So I did use my iron with this, and I did steam them a little bit with the steam setting, and it took no time to get these nice and ironed out. Now, I did make sure to iron the back side of the curtains, not the velvet side. Now, because I like to hang my curtains higher than my actual windows, these are 96 inches in length, if you guys are wondering. Also, I decided to go with the back tab instead of the grommet curtains because I did spray paint my curtain rods. If I would have selected with the grommets, then as I would move them or shift them from opening and closing them, the grommet would actually scrape the curtain rod, and then I would just mess up my entire spray paint job. So that's something to keep in mind if you guys ever decide to spray paint any curtain rods as well. Now it was time to work on the wall with no windows, and all I had was that little flag that I had DIY'd a while ago. I love it, but it was time to put it somewhere else, and the next thing I needed to do was plan out my basket wall. If you guys have been following me on my vlogging channel, you know that I have been slowly trying to accumulate baskets for a wall, and I think I finally have enough. So I laid them all on my dining room table to try and figure out a pattern that I wanted for my wall. Most of these were thrifted. I only paid between $1 and $3 for each of these, except the large black and tan one. That one was $12, and that one I bought at home a while ago. Now, because my wall was actually quite large and I didn't have as many baskets to fill up the entire thing, I decided that I would incorporate my wine cork wreath. That was actually one of my very first DIYs that I shared on my website, and I still have this. It's one of my favorite DIYs ever, and I don't ever get to showcase it as often as I like, so I decided it's gonna go front and center, and I'm gonna put the baskets all around it. After this wall was finished, all I needed to do was add our Christmas finishing touches. I wanted to incorporate some neutral ribbon into my tree, and I wanted to add twinkling lights even though it was a pre-lit Christmas tree. Now for the ribbon, I pretty much just cut 3-foot length pieces, and then since the ribbon is wired ribbon, what I do is I twist the center and kind of give it a pinch right in the center, and it stays because it is wired ribbon, and then I just insert both ends and that center pinch into the Christmas tree. And there really isn't any rhyme or reason. I believe that the more random the ribbon, the better it looks. And I also decided to incorporate a second ribbon. This one is just a nice burlap ribbon with gold letters reading Merry Christmas. And then I inserted these throughout as well. Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman. And this is a Christmas tree by itself with just the ribbon. Most of the ornaments that I placed on this Christmas tree were older. However, I did incorporate some new ones that I created this year that I shared in my previous video. Now, these ornaments were inspired by my curtains because I absolutely love that moss green. And of course, the kids were more than happy to help join in the decorating of the Christmas tree. I wanted to keep the colors on the Christmas tree simple, but I did want to highlight that really pretty green from the curtains throughout. We also incorporated the nativity scene that I've probably had for over 15 years, My littlest loves to arrange all the little people in it, so this was her special task. Next, I added a couple of thrifted candelabras that I found earlier this year and I spray painted. And then I just added a couple of little topiaries that I've had for a while as well onto the table and just kind of kept it simple because we do use this every single day. And here is how the space turned out.
We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times.
I wanted to keep this space simple and light, however, I did want to give it a little bit of elegance. I think the addition of the rug to warm up the floors, as well as the furniture pieces that I thrifted, as well as the curtains to warm the space up and give it a little bit more elegance, just kind of made the room feel complete.
Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss.
We definitely feel a difference in this space right now with both the curtains and the rug. The space just feels so much warmer. And of course, I have to share how the space looks more towards the evening with the Christmas tree lit up and how it makes the room feel.
Good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the Sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go. Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance, 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 come on. Dance. We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time. Dance, dance, all night long. We're gonna dance, dance, and have a good time. I think Santa's gonna come and join us in.
Well, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed what I did with my dining room and how it turned out. If you are interested in checking out some of those beautiful KGORGE curtains for yourself, make sure to check out the link I have in my description box, as well as that coupon code that I have for your special discount. And I hope that you were inspired in seeing how you can turn a space that was originally intended for one thing and repurpose it for something else. This is a sunroom, and my biggest concern was how was I going to be able to make it feel like a dining room? And of course, by using different accessories and solving issues that I had in the room with practical applications of textiles, I think I made everything come together. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the final result. Thank you, KGORGE, for the lovely curtains. They are meticulously crafted and they function as they say they do. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will see you guys back here with another home decor and DIY video next week. Until then, adios!